Welcome to week 6 of our prep football video preview edition. I'm Gaston Gazette sports editor Gabe Lisson, joined by Richard Walker, Philip Gardner. We're almost at the midpoint of the high school football regular season, so going into some of the conference play, we're going to break down some of the things going on as we head into this Friday. Richard, first of all, there are several teams with a bye week. Bessemer City, Cherryville, Lincolnton, Clover in our area. What do you feel like, or what's one of those teams that sticks out to you that can benefit from this the most?
Well, really all of them, and I would argue that if you're a coach, you'd either want to be like what the Cleveland County schools do, where they scrimmage. That last scrimmage is the first actual playing week, so you've got 11 games in 11 weeks, although in this year, Crest had a team back out on them, so they've got a bye week. But their second best option, I would think most coaches would choose, would be the option that these schools have this week. A lot of, 3 of them are Southern Piedmont schools, because they've got another week to play non-conference. But it's almost like, okay, here's the first part of our season, non-conference games. Let's tweak our team to see what we got going into conference play. And we've got one more game to tune up to get into conference play. And I think in the case of Clover, I believe Clover starts their conference season the very next week. The coaches that generally hate the bye week are like, for instance, Ashbrook. Ashbrook's bye week is the next to last week of the season, and it's hard to kind of, if you're playing well, you don't want to take a week off, and you're not playing well, it's frustrating to sit and lay around for 13 days and not play. So typically a bye week, that those guys enjoy having either at the very first of the year and play straight through, or in the middle of the year, like these Southern Piedmont schools are, because now they can kind of say, well, they take inventory of, this is what we've done. Hopefully we can get all these guys healthy, and now we got to make that last little push. And in the Southern District, Southern Piedmont 1A, 2A, you've got all these teams coming together and getting ready for those last 6 games.
Phil, East Gaston getting ready to start their first season and first game in Mega 7 3A 4A. Talk about that a little bit as they switch gears and move into a different league.
They took a bit of a step back last week as Forest U pretty much handled that ball game from start to finish. But I think that could be good for them. I think they were on such a big high from beating East Lincoln the week before. Maybe a little bit of a letdown this past week. Maybe that is a wake-up call as they go into conference play. But I tell you what, they've got a great shot at starting off on the right foot. They have Harding coming in. Harding is one of those teams that we expect to be at the bottom, and so far they're 0-4. They've only scored 12 points all year. So this is a great chance for East Gaston to get started off on the right foot.
And obviously the Big South season gets underway with a full docket of games this week as well. Richard, of the first set of Big South games, which one jumps out to you?
Well, it's interesting. I've kind of gone back and forth with this league throughout the season, because I kind of went into it thinking that South Point and Crest would have a distance between them and the next teams. Then it appeared that Kings Mountain was maybe on that level, and now they appeared to have taken a step back, and now it looks like Forest View is kind of stepping up. I'm going to a game Friday, Ashbrook at Crest, that 2 years ago the whole world figured Crest would blow them out. Ashbrook goes in there and kind of turn the tables on them. So I'm certain, in spite of Ashbrook's struggles this year, that Crest is I would have to think that they've targeted this game as a significant game, and certainly for Ashbrook, because, like you say, when you start conference play, the non-conference games basically determine your seedings in the state playoffs, but conference can get you in as a 1 seed, a 2 seed, a 3 seed, a 4 seed, whatever you are. And Ashbrook's had a tough run of it so far at 1-4, but all that doesn't mean anything, because 0-0 is the important number, and certainly they're going to be the underdog going to Crest, but they certainly played that role to the hilt a couple of years ago. I think Huss and North Gaston has almost always been an intriguing game. And then you look at the other league game, Kings Mountain at South Point. I've seen South Point 3 times now, and they've gotten better each and every time. I watched the Kings Mountain Kannapolis game on the local TV, and Kings Mountain didn't show a whole lot, but certainly they have done some good things early in the year. Greg Lloyd certainly knows a thing or two about South Point from his Crest and East Gaston background, so I suspect he'll try to come over to Belmont and show them something. But it appears to me that South Point is playing the best of the teams in the league right now, with Crest maybe just a little bit behind them.
Phil, talk about your take on the early part of the Big South schedule.
I think the game of the week in the Big South is Kings Mountain South Point, simply because it's 2 of the 4 teams that we think can compete for the conference title in the Big South. I think it's interesting because Kings Mountain brings an aerial attack that perhaps South Point has not faced so far this year, and so how will the South Point defense react to that?
that'll wrap it up for this week. If you ever have any questions for us, feel free to send those to sports@gastongazette.com, and we may use them on the video. That wraps it up. We'll see you next week.